Hello and welcome everyone. I've got another bread video here for you today. I'm doing baguettes made with Poolish. I will explain what that is in a minute. And just like the other recipes I've done so far on this channel for bread, this recipe is from Bread Baking for Beginners by Bonnie Ohara, the book. I highly recommend it. And I've been going over the key recipes in this book on the channel so far, and I'm going to continue with a few more after this. Now, as far as what Poolish is, it is a version of a pre-ferment that's sort of like sourdough, except it does have a little yeast in it, but you only have to prepare it like 12 hours before you plan to make your bread. So you don't have to have a sourdough starter and keep feeding it. So it's kind of similar to sourdough, but it's not, it does use a little bit of yeast. It's not exactly sourdough. And this was actually only my second attempt making these. And they turned out pretty good. I was pretty impressed. My first ones that I made weren't that bad, but these were definitely an improvement. So let's get started. All right, so we have our Poolish right here. We're going to talk more about that in a minute. I'm going to measure all the other ingredients with you because I don't have anything pre-measured this time, so you get to see it all this time. All right, so for the recipe, and I will give you the volumetric measurements on the screen as well, you are going to use your Poolish, which is 1 gram of yeast, 250 grams of flour, and 250 grams of water, and you let that sit 12 to 16 hours. Mine has been sitting almost 14 at this point, pretty close. So about in the middle I have it. So if you want to take a look at what it looks like, very jiggly, very airy. It's been sitting and rising for overnight, and it's got like some flavor, coming in from the pre-ferment now, which is again similar to sourdough, but it does have yeast. So now we're going to add the Poolish to the rest of the ingredients now, which again is, in my case, overnight. You could start it very early in the morning and then do it at night, whatever you want to do with your schedule. But you let it sit 12 to 16 hours. So this is going to get mixed in now with 680 grams of water, 3 grams of yeast, and then we'll mix that together and let it sit a little bit. And then we have 1,000 grams of flour and 20 grams of salt. That's pretty similar to other recipes we've been doing. So I'm going to do that now. Again, you're going to see me measure everything this time because I don't have anything pre-measured. I'm going to add the water first, the 680 grams of water, warm water, 95-ish degrees. Again, there is that water I mentioned in other videos in the book that I should probably tell you. The book that I'm following for these recipes that I have followed for a bit throughout the years is Bread Baking for Beginners by Bonnie Ohara. So I'm doing the key recipes from this book as we go through. And then if you want more of those recipes, you'll have to buy the book. There is a table she has which gives like the precise temperature that you should use to get the dough the exact temperature you want. I'm a little lackadaisical on that. I say like 95-ish most of the time is good for me. You may want to play around with things, but that's what I'm going to do. So all right, so I got some water here. I'm going to measure 680 grams. I'm going to start the scale again because it turned off. Then I need 3 grams of yeast. My Poolish to the water and the yeast, and then I actually use my Danish dough whisk to mix it in. And I'm going to add flour. And I'm using bread flour. It does call for all-purpose in the recipe, but all-purpose or bread, whatever you want to use. All right, now it's going to be a little more tricky to get 1,000 grams in here without going over. Just have to watch it when I get close. That's why I usually measure things separately and then put them in. And I do recommend that. I'm just kind of living on the edge here. at 983. There we go. There's 1,000. Okay. So throw it off for now. Then I need 20 grams of salt. So that's done. That's the dough. So I'm going to take my ring off, wash my hands, and mix the dough with my hands. And again, I like to keep my plastic scraper handy in case I need it while I'm mixing. I try to mix with one hand so that I don't get the other one dirty. At least when I'm doing this, when I'm kneading, it's different, which I'm going to be doing in a minute. You'll see. Anyway, I am mixing it by hand. If you want more of an explanation on how to do this, how I do it, how it's recommended in the book, or if you want to learn like the other tools you can use to mix it, I do talk about that in other videos. I'll give you a timestamp here. So just in case this is my first video that you're watching and you haven't gone through the whole series, which I suggest you do. But if you want to learn more about the other processes like mixing, kneading when we get there, those I'll give a timestamp for those and show you which video they would be on if you want more of an explanation. But right now I'm going to kind of, for the rest of it after I stop talking, going to just speed up the video. All right, so the next step is to have this rest for 20 minutes. So I'll be back then. All right, so now resting period is over. Doesn't look much different. We are going to now knead the dough. So I will give you a timestamp for another video, which I explained the kneading process more. In this video, I'm just gonna kind of rush through it. But you knead for about 5 to 10 minutes until the dough gets nice and smooth and keeps its structure very well, and it should take like 5 to 10 minutes. So here we go. And I did wash my hands, in case you're wondering. All right, so this is pretty good. I'm not too strict about this because we're going to be folding. I'll wash this off in a minute. We're going to be folding the dough in the middle of the rising process in this case. So we're going to be doing more for the structure of the dough as time goes on. So I'm not as strict about like how strong it is or whatever. So it's looking pretty smooth. I am going to wash my hands, and then we're going to put it in our rising container, let it rise for 2 hours. But after an hour, halfway through, we're going to do some folds to the dough and then let it rise, continue to rise for another hour. So 2 hours total, 1 hour fold, and then another hour rise. So again, I use these big plastic containers. I got them on Amazon, but you can use your bowl that you used to mix in, or another large container that you have, just because we're making the like double recipe technically with the 1,000 grams of flour and the poolish on top of that. So it's gonna rise a lot, so I like to use these bigger containers. Anyway, here we go. We're gonna let it rise for an hour, fold, and then another hour, like I said. So this is what it looks like now. After an hour, it's going to be risen up a little bit. Apologize for any sound issues. Dishwasher's running, but I have to do folds here. So what I'm going to do is go along the side with this and do it in the bowl or the container, whatever it is, so I don't have to bring it out. loosen it from the sides. Like this. Then I'm going to reach in and do some folds like we do with our noni bread. Around the clock. It's harder and harder to do, obviously. And then I'm going to let that rise for another hour. I did 2 times around the clock, that should be good. I've laid out a baking sheet, a large one, with a kitchen towel on top, my little bread towels, and I've made sort of little hills on here where the baguettes are going to go so they don't knock into each other or proof into each other, whatever. So they do sell like specific baguette pans. I don't have one. Maybe someday. Right now, I mean, this is only my second time making these actually, so we'll see how it goes. I mean, if I can get this to work, then I don't need an extra pan. And I think they turned out okay last time. We'll see this time. But anyway, so you put a kitchen towel down and make these little hills so that you keep your baguette doughs separate. So I have that here. And I'm gonna flour my counter. I did start that good. Okay, cool. This is supposed to make 4 to 6 baguettes. I'm gonna do 6 because I want them to be a little smaller if possible. All right, so I'm gonna take the dough out and then separate this into 6 pieces, equal pieces if I can. You can weigh them if you want them to be exactly equal, but I'm gonna eyeball it myself personally. So let me get my plastic scraper. Again, I want to separate this from the sides, like this, a little bit, and the bottom, if I can. And then I want to turn this out upside down, have it come out as naturally as possible. It takes a bit. There we go. And then I'm going to cut this into 6 pieces, so I'm going to do it in half first. It'll give me 2 halves. Probably should have wet this down and floured it a little because it's sticking. But oh well, it's a little late for that. Now I'm just going to take each half and try to get 3 equalish pieces out of it. 1, 2, 3. And obviously this one's smaller, but that's fine. I'm probably going to cook those 2 on a separate pan anyway, so I'm going to have to get another pan. So let's divide that, like so. And then I'm going to flour the tops and then cover it with a kitchen towel and let it rest for 30 minutes. That is a bubble, not anything gross. All right, so I'm gonna let this rest for about 30 minutes. Like that. I'm gonna move these over, these 2 on top here, and then move these over as well. Maybe I should flour a little more over here. That. So I can move this one over and then move this one over slightly so I can work on this one. So what I'm going to do first is dust some of this flour off. Just like the boule or batar that we've been making, we're going to start off making envelope folds down. So top down to the center, bottom up to the center. Make a seam with your heel of your hand, and then left over to the center, right over to the center, make a seam, and you'll end up with a rounded rectangle. So that's the first step, and we'll do that. So this goes down, this comes up, and then you make a seam. There's a little bit of flour on here, so it's kind of hard. And then right over, left over, make a seam, push it in with the heels. All right, so now these are the kind of smaller ones. So now what we're gonna do, second step, is pull this down to the center, make a seam, pull it down again to the center, make a seam, pull it down again to the center, make a seam. Then from here, you roll it with your hands. Start at the center, and then work your way out, trying to keep it relatively the same width and long, and then you can taper the ends a little bit. Like that. Alright. This is one of the smaller ones, like I said. I'm going to put this over on my I made another pan here, on a smaller pan. And I think this one is going to have to be inverted. Alright, so my other small one here, do the same thing. Fold top down to the center, bottom up to the center, seal it, seam it, and then right and left, seal it, and seam it. Then top down in the middle, seam it, if you can. Top down again to the middle, seam it, top down again to the middle, seam it, and then roll. So, put that over here to proof. Now, the rest of them. Let that proof for 45 minutes, proof. And then preheat the oven to 475, and we're gonna be using steam because these are gonna be cooked without a lid. So we're gonna be using steam like we've done in a few other recipes. So when the oven is hot enough, we're gonna put some water in here, put it in, let it steam up a little bit, and then put those in when it's time to put them in. And then let them cook for 10 minutes with steam, and then I think 10 to 15, let me check. Yep, 10 to 15 without steam. So we'll take the steam out after 10 minutes. But total like 20, 25 minutes and they should be done. So let's preheat the oven. All right, the oven is preheating. Well, it is preheated. So I'm going to score these. I have to do it in 2 batches because I can't fit both these pans in there. So I'll do all of them right now, score them. Actually, I should take them off the pan first. Technically, you're supposed to use like a pizza peel. I don't know if I'm gonna do that or not, we'll see, probably. Let me get that off the pan. I don't think I need to oil the pan or anything. I just want to score these Now, wait, should I score them? I probably should score them after I put them on the peel, so I guess I'll do these first. There's my pizza peel. This will do. Alright. So, I'm gonna get these on the pizza peel. I'm gonna flour this so that they'll slide off. Here it is. Of course it's out. I'm using it. Alright. I'm gonna flour this like that. Get these on here. Because after you score them, they're gonna be harder to move. Trust me, I know. So, done with this. This technically is supposed to be inverted. I just hope it's not a disaster if I do that. So I'll put this in the oven. All right. Hopefully I can slide them on there now. Maybe I should do one at a time. I'll do one at a time. I've had bad experiences. You've seen some of them. All right. So, gonna score this just diagonally down like this. Like that ish. And this will hopefully puff up more in the oven with the steam. All right, I'm gonna transfer this one over onto the pan. I don't really have a camera set up there, so I can't really show you, but transfer it onto the pan. There we go. Not bad. Now I'm gonna do the same to this one. Looking for my razor blade, it's right here. Okay. Same thing. Razor blade it down. This one looks like the cuts are going deeper. I must have it the right angle. This one will probably turn out better. Except for that part, it's not so great, but there we go, like that. Those are actual cuts. The other one wasn't really doing that. So this one will probably turn out better. But let's get this in the oven too. And then set the timer for like 9 now. So I can start taking the steam out. I guess. Do 9.5. Technically it's supposed to be 10, but because we put them in at different times. All right. Then I'm gonna cook those. And then I'm gonna start getting these ready and cook those as well, so. All right, taking out the steam. This is how they look. All right, here's the first batch that came out. Now I had to cut 2 of those longer ones. Can't really see them right now, but I had to cut them in half because there's no way they're gonna fit on the pan. And I only did 2 that are in the oven right now, so I got more to cook. But anyway, these are the ones that came out. This one is better than this one. They're a little, because they were smaller, I probably shouldn't have put them in as long as I did, but they're fine. You know, I mean, not bad for my second attempt at baguettes, I guess. But anyway, that's how they look. The first batch. All right, how does the first batch look from this angle? Good? Got a little flour on the bottom, but pretty good. Baguette. Smells good. We're gonna cut into it soon, I know. Probably don't have to wait 30 minutes because they're not as big. But like I said, I think because these were smaller, I probably should have put them on for less time or brought the temperature down, so I might actually do that for the ones that are in there now too. But that's them, how they look. We're gonna cut them open in a minute so I can show you how they look inside. Just to show you, this is kind of how I had to break everything up because these ended up being longer when I picked them up and put them on the peel. So I had to put them the other way on the pan. So that's why I only have 2 there. And I have 4 more to cook, but those aren't as long. I cut those in half, the other ones, so. But anyway, let's close the oven. All right, let's cut into these. See there, I'm gonna cut them in half anyway for what we're doing with them, so. Just to show how the crumb would look from like a cross section. And then I'm gonna cut them in half the other way as well. I'll do this one over here, see? Got some holes in there. Open crumb. And then I'm gonna cut them this way because we're gonna use them for sandwiches. Probably should let them go a little longer with the cooling, but I'm impatient. Again, do as they say, not as I do. All right. I probably should. I'll just cut this one open for now, and then I'll leave the rest of them to cut the rest of them open later, because this is a little, you know, I probably should have waited. So, but anyway, that's how it looks. What do you think? Good? Does this look photogenic enough? Probably not. And there's the 2 real long ones. Looking good. Let's get them out. All right, here's the long ones. Get a good look at them. Here's one of the long ones. Ooh, they're looking good. I'm happy with them. I know they're not perfect. It's my second chance, my second try, I should say, not my second chance. I mean, I guess it's my second chance. But anyway, for my second try, these are pretty good. I'd have to look back. I didn't look at the pictures before I did this. I know that I wasn't as satisfied with the ones I made the first time, so I've definitely improved, and I will continue to do so as I make more. Steam in. And then we are going to try to get the rest of those on here. We'll see how that goes. Pretty good, huh? Pretty good. I am happy with that. All right. All right, here's a few more pictures of how they turned out. Again, I'm pretty happy with these. And as always, I have a few bloopers. That's inevitable with me. But I also have bonus of my first baguettes I made back in 2021. It's been that long. But I like to share these just to show that I was a beginner once too, and I am improving. So just start baking. I need to still cut the, where's my razor blade? It's gone. I might have to get another one. Yep, all right. Fine, I'll waste another one. I'm gonna find it. And I'm gonna be like, there it was. Oh, did I lose it again? Where is it? Do you see where I put it? Why am I doing this? What's my problem? Here it is. I don't know if that was the first one or the second one. I have to review the footage. Let's see how that goes. Bother me right now. Oh no. This one's sticky. Let's get some flour on the bottom there. Oh, I did it again. Seriously. Keep track of your razor blades. Here's my advice to you. Did it fall on the ground? It should be right here somewhere. It should be. Maybe I've brought it over here. I don't see it. So where is it? I'm not bringing another one out. I'll use a knife if I have to. Wow. Wow. Okay. Doesn't help that I can't really see on my counter sometimes, or my floor. I'm gonna use a knife. I'm not wasting another one. This will be fun.